Hello and welcome to another planning video. This is my March planning video. And the first thing that I like to do is just to get all my pins and all my highlighters out. I like to color code things because that really does help my brain kind of draw attention to the tasks. And then I also like to review my February calendar. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right here. What you can't see on this screen is that I'm looking at my YouTube videos that I uploaded in February just to kind of review what happened. And it just so happened that I only uploaded one video in February. So I decided to move over the video idea, the content ideas, to my March calendar. So that is front and center. That's the first thing that I'm going to be writing down here in 1 second. After that, I really do like to look at my goals. So for my personal goals, I feel like I've been doing a better job with getting more movement in the day. So that's at the top of the list. So I like to look at kind of like on a daily, what types of movements I'm going to be doing. So that's like using my standing desk, using my walking treadmill desk, going swimming, doing yoga, weights. What does that look like in my week? And I like to plan that out. I like to set goals for myself and then plan out like which days I'm going to be doing which movement. I do like to try to go walking every day. So that is at the top of my list. Right under my movement goals, I like to list out the content ideas that I have for March. So I am really hoping to get back into the swing of things of uploading videos on a weekly basis. I feel like the past few months have been really challenging for me in terms of client work and just being able to kind of focus on that and not being able to focus on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things here. After I write down my content ideas for March, the other focus that I'm going to be doing here in a few weeks is to do my quarterly business retreat. So I'm really looking forward to that. I nailed down the dates. I've talked to a couple of my team members about it already. And so we're going to start creating the agenda for that. And really, this is just a way of me setting time aside to really focus on my business and what my business goals are. I will be recording those as well. So I want to make sure that I can upload those to YouTube as well. I did record my quarterly business retreat 2 years ago, and so I have 2 videos on that, and I'll make sure to link that below. I do have a few other priorities that are going on this month as well. I have some creative kind of like goals that I want to do as well. So those are doing an artist date and thinking about maybe doing a hobby and an education hour. So every month I want to set aside at least 1 hour a week to focus on education. The other things that I have going on, I've joined like nutrition programs, so I do that on Mondays, and then I want to get back into the swing of things for meal prep and planning as well. So I like to do those on Sundays. Really, it's just kind of like an all weekend thing. I plan Friday, go shopping on Saturday, and then kind of do the meal prep on Sunday. So that's what I'm planning there as well. You know, February was hard for me in terms of client work, but also in terms of I actually got sick kind of like mid-month. And so I feel like I lost a couple of weeks there. I feel like the last week of February going into March, I was kind of just like playing catch up a lot. I was working on the weekends and just trying to like knock things off my list. So what you see here is just me looking at both my Google Calendar as well as Asana. I just thought I would provide you a different perspective because you can't necessarily see everything that I'm looking at when I'm planning out my month. And what I like to do is just kind of like get a general idea of what's coming down the pipeline for my clients. And so that's why I like to look at both my Google Calendar for my personal events, my Google Calendar for my business events, as well as Asana. And then this way I can really create kind of like the priority for each of the weeks, because not every week is the same. Bookkeeping is very much a monthly cycle. And so being able to kind of plan out different markers, especially when it comes to a couple of my nonprofit clients, I'm finishing up an audit with one of them, and then we're going to be revisiting another audit for another client, as well as getting out financial reports for their board meetings in March as well as in April. So I'm taking all of that into consideration when I'm building out my March calendar. But generally speaking, I do like to plan out specific days for specific tasks, because it kind of helps me not just break out the work among the week, but also it breaks out my week too, because I want to make sure that I'm also taking care of my business and doing the tasks that I need for my business, as far as my financials are concerned, as far as planning is concerned, as far as meeting with my team, as far as content is concerned. I mean, there's a lot of different components, a lot of different things that I'm juggling day to day. So it's always good for me to kind of have the idea of what I will be focusing on for this day, for this week, and then in particular for this month. With that in mind, I do like to make sure that I'm moving some of these tasks around. So, I'm taking into consideration all those other factors. And sometimes what happens is, let's say we need to go in and download a bank statement for a particular month, and maybe it doesn't always land on the last day of the month. So that happens occasionally with some of my clients and their statements. And so I really have to kind of just make sure I'm taking that into consideration when I'm thinking about the Asana tasks that I have, because sometimes the Asana tasks are either recurring on a weekly basis, or they're recurring on a bi-weekly basis, or on a certain day of the month. So on the 5th of every month, I want to download bank statements. That's not always going to work when it comes to bank statements that have a closing date of the 15th. The bank statement will still be open at the 5th of the month. So I need to move that task down so I'm capturing all of that. When it comes to my personal life, there are a few things that I want to take care of in the month of March, and I do want to take care of some spring cleaning tasks. That's kind of been on my mind. So I also put that onto my calendar. I think you'll see that in a little bit. But also some of the other events that I was thinking about, personally, there's not a lot of birthdays in the month of March that I know of, hopefully. Hopefully I've taken that into consideration. But the Oscars are this month, and we do have daylight savings time. So a couple of things just to keep in mind as I'm going through the month of March. All right, so I have most of my calendar filled out now. I'm just gonna go through and highlight it according to kind of the different categories that I have in my brain. So blue is, in my mind, I think of blue as these are my CEO tasks. So these are things that I kind of have to put my CEO hat on for. I like to have a CEO day. That's usually on Wednesdays, and then the quarterly retreat is going to be my CEO day. And then I also serve on a board for a nonprofit here in Pasadena, so that's also going to be on my CEO hat. The next color is pink, and that's all the personal tasks. So pink is also one of my favorite colors, and so that kind of aligns quite nicely. Then we have green, and green is kind of in my mind, I think of green as a prep, kind of planning type of thing. I also forgot to mention that St. Patrick's Day is also in March. And so I'm highlighting that day, as well as kind of my meal prep and plan days and spring cleaning. So I'm scheduling spring cleaning on Saturdays. So we'll see how that goes. Yellow is my movement goals, and orange is in relation to my content. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.